Okay, I'm back. And I think we've got an incredible show waiting for you guys today. We have two racing legends that I've been dying to get on this program. And it's quite a difficult mission to get them here, all in one house. And I'm Peter van der Spuy, and my co-host today is Leon Bosman.
How's it, Peter?
He's a walking encyclopedia on racing facts and so on. And,
Wow.
and I believe he's got all the smut that he can bring out
I've got
at some
some of
stage.
the good stuff here we're going to talk about
And
today.
we've got Sarel van der Merwe and Ian Scheckter. They don't actually need introduction.
I think it's important to tell the viewers that if they want to go check out the racing specs, go onto Wikipedia, go search the web. We're going to talk about the stuff that no one else talks about.
Yeah, I mean,
not on the books.
If we had to roll out all their accolades and achievements and so on, we're going to be at least an hour to run through all that stuff.
We're going to need a few more
that's
batteries.
Not what we're interested in. We're interested in the stuff that the public doesn't know about, maybe, or some people may know about it. And we want to get into the stories, into the backgrounds. And it's, something that I didn't know was that these two guys are both aviators as well.
Something you can relate to there. Yeah?
And I'm an old aviator as well, and so that's really interesting because we can relate that to racing. I do believe that sometimes if you fly aircraft, you can get into racing quite easily. I remember when I got into racing at a very late age, only like 13 or 14 years ago is when I started, and the guys kept saying, "Are you sure you haven't raced before?" And no, I haven't. And then eventually somebody said, "What do you do for a living?" And I said, "No, I'm a pilot." That makes sense because I'm used to seeing 250 k's an hour on the runway every time I land. The sort of the depth perception and stuff like that. But I think we've also got some aviation stories to share here today, as well as some racing stories. So I'd like to formally introduce Sarel van der Merwe, who has a colourful history that, you're a living legend, my man, and to have you on here, and we're going to go through some stuff. And be sure to watch this program to the end, because at the end, these two guys are going to race each other.
One last time.
They're going to be doing a hot lap at Monza. I can tell you now already because you can't go back and practice. So you'll be in a BMW M4 full-blown race car at Monza. Don't know if you've raced there before, but I know you guys get to know a track like this. We give you a couple of laps, 8 laps to warm up, and then we give you 5 laps to put a hot lap in.
To punch it.
And then we're going to compare the two of them because we don't have a Stig on this program, but we have a guy called the Twig, which we found strolling around in some shopping center one day in Checkers, and he claimed that he could drive, and we pulled him in here, and he put on a hot lap here, and nobody's beaten his time yet. So we have a sort of a comparison. It's the same setup. For everybody, same setup, same temperature, tracks the same temperature, same power settings on the car. So everybody gets to use the same car, and they all do it blindly. Nobody's informed of who, of the track and car that we're going to use. So that's going to be something to watch. And we'll record that at the end of the program, and that's normally screened at the end of the program. And Ian, also welcome. Ian Scheckter, also a legend. You haven't raced as long as Sarel, but I believe you gave him a go.
No, he's older than me, so
He's that, sir. Has that ever made a difference? Did you find that you were better than him just because he was older than you?
No. We raced a lot in different categories, and he grew up on, I don't know, I think he was more off-road or rallying. I think I was more single-seaters, when bikes first, then single-seaters. I didn't really race much else besides that. 1 year in saloons.
But you also raced Formula One, is that correct?
Yeah, Formula One, single-seaters. That's what we call Formula One.
I see, not the Formula One that we think it is.
Well, it's the same as today, but it was
In
in the
those days.
70s.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's when race cars were race cars.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but they were. Listen, the cars are good today, fast, and
Safety ratings and all
But
that.
the safety is so good that the guys don't really care, because if you crash today, nothing happens. But in our era, when you crashed,
A lot of things could go wrong all at the same time.
Just a quick story. I mean, my first time, like you remember, 73 was the fuel crisis. So when we got our first Formula Ones into South Africa for us to race here, we couldn't do any testing, and then they allowed the Grand Prix. So I was sitting in the car waiting to do my first practice session in an F1 ever, and they stopped practice before I'd even got out the pits. Revson was killed. I was sitting in the car thinking, this is a coffin on wheels.
Jeez.
I could be dead in 10 minutes' time. So
That's crazy.
it was a very different era.
I mean, the anxiety that must, I mean, comparing it today, I mean, today the cars are also very fast.
They are fast, but they're very safe. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the survival cell. So
Yeah.
the car will break up and the driver will survive. In our day, the cars were aluminium, so
Yeah.
they just crumbled.
Yeah. I mean,
Like an aeroplane when it crashes.
that's crazy. Sarel, I mean, you were, rally was, I think, one of the big kind of starts in your career. Do you get the same kind of feeling with the rally cars? Because you guys used road cars and then basically converted them to be able to do rallying, essentially. It's not like today where they have like a specific race car that's built,
No, so was the rally cars, though. Special suspension and in fact, that was more fun than the racing cars,
Really?
because you were always on dirt roads, and it's a road you've never been on before.
Yeah.
And I think that was a lot more of a challenge than it would be in a normal track racing. And I think from that, I've also learned a lot, because you had to do whatever. And you're racing on a track that you've never seen before. And that was quite exciting most of the time.
Do you think that the rally gave you an edge? You're saying that it's maybe a track that you were very quick to adapt to a track. When you moved on to like tarmac racing, do you think you had a slight advantage, meaning that you could quickly figure out how a track worked?
I think so, yes, because the off-road stuff was all on dirt. And you'd never been on the track before, and you're driving at night. So, I mean, all that lot give you a lot more, I don't know what word I want to use. You get used to being in a difficult spot.
All the time.
Yeah.
You're on that high level.
And you
the whole
got to
time.
fix it as it happens. So that was quite exciting, though.
I was watching one of the old clips. I found it on YouTube, and Sarel was in it from 1984 rally. It started at Sea Point, and there was like drum majorettes and a lot of celebrations, and Sarel was standing there like pretty cool, got the Ray-Bans on, chilling, chatting to everybody, and the Audi in the background. And, out of all the rally cars, I mean, I'm a big Toyota fan, so back in the day it was Serge Damso's, Toyotas and all that. But that rally, that Audi with that turbo chirps, when you hear that coming, I just close my eyes and it's groupie rally. That's it, And was that maybe like one of the most exciting rally cars that you think was part of your career?
It was the most satisfaction you ever had, because the car did everything that you expected to do. And it was a very solid vehicle and quite quick. So that was I think of all the racing cars I've driven, that was probably the nicest one.
That's awesome.
Or the easiest one to actually.
Did you did some WRC as well, so you raced overseas. Did you also race the Audi overseas as well?
No. What have you raced there?
I don't know.
In America.
In America, we raced, that was track racing.
Yeah, that was the
track.
Daytona. But did you ever go rally overseas in Europe? I think.
I rallied in America.
Oh, in America as well.
I
Yeah.
rally in America.
Oh, wow. And both of you guys also did the Daytona stint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first year when they won, I wasn't part of the team. We were still enemies from 1980. And then they had a meeting with Sarah and myself and the whole team and everybody to see if we could work together. And obviously for me it was a big opportunity, so I wanted to, but we soon learned to like each other.
So that's an interesting topic. I mean, everybody's kind of like put that barbecue bend incident, right, as the turning point in, I think it was in silhouette racing back in the days, because after that came the West Bank modifieds, right? So like, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, obviously time passed. It was maybe like 12 months. At what time was it like,
No,
okay?
no, it was 80 to 84.
Yeah.
So it was 4 years.
Just that long.
Yeah, but
At what time did you guys say, okay, let's crack the beer and we're mates now again?
He tried to assassinate me there. He just drove like an arsehole. So.
Anyway, yes, the first race was very difficult. I mean, we didn't do much practice in that, and it Road America, a fantastic circuit. In fact, one of the best around, I would think. High-speed, long circuit, some great corners. Anyway, Sarel did the first stint, and he came in under the yellows, and Derek Bell was then in Porsche 962. I think 956 or 62. And I was determined that when the safety car pulled off, that I was going to blow him away, which I did for 15 laps or whatever, for 15 minutes. I pulled out a 15-second lead, but he knew that it was an endurance race. After 15, 20 minutes, I was knackered. And I spun and didn't know why. Anyway, I got going, I was still in the lead, and then I spun again a lap later. Still didn't know why. The third time I spun, somebody touched the car, so I had to come into the pits. And when I stopped in the pits, I realized I was so bad. The heat inside the car, and I was used to open seaters. So I said, I can't drive anymore. They have to go and get Sarel. And Sarel was still panting in the pits from his 1 hour. But he had to come and take over. And that didn't make him happy, for sure. And then later in the race, when I had to get back in the car, I was still panting. But it was about 7 laps to go. The pedals, I don't know why they got so hot. My feet were burning. I couldn't touch the brake pedal. And I radioed in to Ken, who was running the car. I said, Ken, I can't touch the pedals anymore. They're too hot. There's something wrong. He said, well, you're not coming in. There's 7 more laps. You stay out. So that's how we got through the first race. But then, we realized that we both liked golf and played golf. And we liked going to the pubs there, and the pubs, the girls dance on the stage, what do you call it? The
Coyote.
Pub counter, and they topless and very pretty. And we both enjoyed that kind of thing. So eventually we became good mates and went to golf shops a lot. Bought a lot of golf equipment. So here's an interesting question. So when you guys had to drive around in the States, who was the one that always wanted to jump into the driver's seat? No, Sarel did all the driving.
He did all the driving.
And they were too lazy.
Yeah, he was looking at the girls. I mean, these topless girls dancing on the bar counters.
There's a lovely story, but I don't know if Sarel wants to tell about the prize giving with Sarel. when you got stopped that night, remember? Okay.
Let's hear it. This is what we're here for.
The end of the year, 84, they had a big prize giving, and they gave Sarel a big poster of himself, a big photograph, in the car.
Yeah.
And, South Africans are probably world-class drinkers, and each table had like a 5-liter bottle of wine on, and we flattened our bottle, and we took a bottle off somebody else's table and flattened that. And then when we left, we took somebody else's bottle and we went in the car. Now we're going back. Halfway back to the hotel, we realized we'd forgotten Sarel's picture.
Oh, no.
So Sarel did a U-turn and we go back. But when we go back to the hotel, we missed the turn. And we say, Sarel, it's the back one. He did a handbrake turn and went into the street, and somehow the cops picked that up.
No.
And you can't do a handbrake turn in the middle of Daytona. Anyway, the cop cars just came like you see on the movies,
Right.
5 or 6 or 7, and the spotlights on us and everything. And then if you want to take over the story.
So this is after a race event or before a race event?
No,
after the race event.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
damn, bloody cops still want to get involved in that.
And the American cops are a bunch of assholes.
Hey, I think
So,
they don't take shit, eh?
no, they full of nonsense.
Yeah.
And then they tested me for alcohol and all the rest of it.
You passed that
And I
one.
passed all that, otherwise I'd probably still be there. But we had a lot of fun together, actually.
Yeah. But I don't know how he passed, because I promise you, we were pissed. And it was so funny
And
because...
they made me walk, yeah.
Yeah.
I did that sobriety test thing with a one leg stand up this way, that way. Yeah.
But what I can say is, you know, Sarel, without being rude, was a male chauvinist. You know,
Because the girls loved him, eh?
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
you know,
so, but the
there's
chief,
no doubt about
the
that.
chief cop that was now controlling Sarel and the test was a woman.
Oh, that.
And I won't mention more about her, but she was telling him, stand on your left leg, stand on your right leg. It was like an army thing. Walk on the dotted line, touch your nose. And there was Sarel. And we were all amazed because he was busy passing his test. And none of us could even stand. But I remember when we got back to the hotel, he made us all do the test. None of us could stand on one leg.
So the right driver was in the seat.
Absolutely, yeah. We would have been in jail if it wasn't for him.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But what was that always like the banter with you guys? I mean, being overseas and obviously getting closer, playing in the golf, going out after the races, and that kind of like,
well,
you know, maybe got you guys closer
We
together.
actually started off when we first knew each other in different, you know, as competition. And at the end, we became very, very good friends. We're still very good friends. You know, it's been a wonderful life with him,
Yeah.
especially beating him.
Sometimes. But I mean, like, I've stayed at his house and he's stayed at my house. And I've even got a photograph of him watering my garden. Can you be? I woke up the one morning and looked down, and there was Sarel in his T-shirt and shorts watering my garden. Took a picture.
Oh, that's very
I
caring.
can blackmail him.
Very caring, I must say. You know, I mean, that's the
Oh,
way
that's
friends
what
should be,
mates
eh?
do. That's what good mates do, right?
I mean, you obviously didn't water your garden enough, and I mean, the guy saw your plants dying, and you know,
And I saved the whole
bloody garden there. Yeah.
Well, I was
Nice guy.
I was divorced at the time, so I was a bachelor. And my wife was into the gardens, not me.
Okay, and she left the premises at that stage.
Yeah.
Helping hand from Sarel, come and water your garden.
Now, he actually came down to do judging on drifting, drifting competitions.
Okay.
And so he stayed at my place. Yeah.
But Sarel, you had quite a close call at that LeMans where you were racing with Gardner. I mean, when you came in a lap early, and then Gardner went out, and unfortunately he had the accident on the Mulsanne straight. Was that something that you had this feeling like something wasn't right, or how did that feel? That must have been quite like I mean, you guys are in the middle of a LeMans 24 hours, and something like that happens. I mean, that knocks anybody off the game.
He was a bit of an arsehole as a driver.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't really rate him. I don't know why he was there in the first place.
Mm.
And, you know, I never hit him though, but I should have.
Left hook. So, I mean, if I have the details correctly, you came in a lap earlier than you should have, apparently, and then he went out, and then on that lap that he went out on,
He had an accident
he
with
had
the
an
car.
accident,
Yeah, and then he died.
and actually died, and there was some failure of the steering.
I think it was
something.
suspension failure on
Suspension
the
failure.
Porsche. Yeah,
Yeah.
Who was that? What?
it was Gardner. I think it was the 84 somewhere around there.
Really?
I mean,
One of
that's
the old LeMans.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
I've read up. He's pulled some data there from the past, and I mean that's quite quite an amazing thing because Sarel may not have been here had he done one extra
Oh,
lap.
the car might have broken.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah, and
the
he
that was the 956, and that was the you guys finished third at that LeMans. It was Joe Gartner's suspension failure, so it was down the Mulsanne Straight at over 200 miles an hour. Yeah,
Having said that, I mean, how many Le Mans races have you done, Sarel? I think we've counted about 8.
no, so there's
I
a good
think
few.
about around about 7, 8.
I mean, that's, for anybody today to do a Le Mans or take part in a Le Mans race is just, it's
quite
an
it's
event
quite a
that
feat.
If you can just do one, you've achieved all your racing goals. And for you to have done 8 of those, it's remarkable.
And also, let me point out today, the cars are air-conditioned, paddle shift, power brakes, and all the
Lovely
luxuries, power
luxuries.
steering. In that era, there was no
Nothing.
power, anything, no air conditioning. I did the 124-hour with Sarel at Daytona, and I promise you, I was happy that was the last one.
That's crazy.
I didn't enjoy
How many
that at all.
24 hours a Daytona did you do?
I only did the one. Sarel did many more.
Oh, did you? Okay. Because I remember there was one specific race where you raced a lot longer than you should have. I don't know if it was the other guys that were busy petering out and you took over. And
Yeah, there's, the Le Mans races are normally 3 drivers. Or there's a lot of...
yeah, today there's 6.
Yeah. And there's not... Some of them weren't really on par. And I did a hell of a lot of laps because one guy was so much slower. And I said, if he's going to drive, I'm going to go home.
Yeah, because
So they left him and I did his...
you
so-
did
His stint
stunts.
as well.
Yeah, I did his stunts. And, but I think in that respect, the racing drivers weren't as fit as I was because I came through a rally background.
Yeah.
And that was a lot tougher driving all night and all stuff.
Yeah, you
stuff
don't get
like
much
that.
tougher than that.
So I was actually, I think I was fitter than the whole crowd there. Another interesting thing at Le Mans is first time I did that overseas.
Yeah.
Before I could practice, there was a lot of drama, and eventually I did my first lap at night. And I'd never been on the track before. So I knew there was a long straight, but I didn't know where
It
it
ended.
stopped, where it ended. Yeah. And I came down at the interstate at a hell of a speed, 200 and something miles an hour. And I saw the corner, and then I barely scraped around. If I'd gone 1 kilometer quicker, the car would have been gone. So that was the first time I raced at Le Mans. And that was
Just to do that, do
But
your
that-
first training lap at night. I know exactly which corner you're talking about.
But that
little
comes down-
chicane at the end of the
Yeah,
long
yeah.
straight.
But that comes down to what I said earlier. Like, because of the rally background, you were used to driving at adverse conditions and having to learn a track or a route very quickly.
and at night type of
Yeah,
thing.
and exactly. So that was a bit of an advantage. And it's an interesting thing you said that you were a lot fitter than most of the drivers. I mean, if you look at the racing drivers today, they go through fitness programs, they got special diets, chefs, all sorts of things. Where those days, a lot of people, I mean, we spoke about it earlier, where the old rugby players, they all had day jobs and they were professional athletes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of the guys that were racing were like, oh, well, we had a day job and we were racing, So it wasn't like they were specifically into this. They're like, oh, yeah, let's go get the keys and go for a quick race on the weekend. But you already having that career in rally and having all that experience was
And
quite a
it's-
big
And
advantage.
especially the long distance races, the 9 hours and whatever. So I think I was probably better prepared
Yeah.
for endurance racing.
You never thought to tackle the Dakar back in the day? Because you did a lot of rallying, you've done
the Dakar in
circuit
those days
racing.
weren't that big,
Mm.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the same
League.
league.
Not like today.
No.
No.
But definitely that must have helped. So, we were, even the Grand Prix in my day was the same as it is today. So it was an hour and 3/4 probably. Okay, the cars were tough to drive because they were manual, but we didn't get Today the guys are super race fit because they have to be.
Yeah.
they paid $50 million a year, I'd also go to the gym for them.
Every day.
But the G-forces of today, you know, the downforce is so high, and the G-forces, their bodies need it. You know, you've probably done in an aeroplane where the G's actually count. In our era, 100%. I remember Ronnie Peterson saying to me, the most exercise he does is he takes the block out from under the bed, runs around the block, and gets back into bed.
No, you can't do that today. No,
Yeah, you know, my brother
super
Jody used to train a lot, and I did what I thought was training, you know, with because I lived in East London, the surf club, and I trained with the rugby club, not the physical, but the
PT.
PT and road running. But when I got into the sports car that Sarel had been driving, it was just very different.
Two completely different things.
Yeah, it was bloody strenuous. You know, single-seater, open car, you're getting a lot more air. So, and the races were a lot shorter, and the cars were a lot lighter.
But how amazing must the Formula One been in those days? I mean, the cars were different, the sounds was different, everything was just on another different level.
Well,
it was raw racing, unfiltered.
There were some. My first Formula One car was the Lotus 72, which Emerson Fittipaldi won the championship in, the World Championship, and we managed, in those days you could buy the cars straight from the factory at the end of the year.
Sure.
So right now, if I had a choice, I'd go and buy the McLaren for next year.
Yeah.
And last year I would have bought the Red Bull and been in trouble. But we got that Lotus 72, and that was just an amazing, fantastic car. It just was just so great.
But I mean, you guys also had a lot of challenges. I mean, we spoke about this earlier. Peter and I did. You know, in those times, there's a story about you going to Japan to go race Fuji and then getting sent back.
Yeah.
I mean, was it difficult for you guys to go racing during that era overseas, especially with the political climate in South Africa? I mean, how did you guys manage to actually be able to go race?
Well, in my case especially, because I was racing in America.
Yeah.
And in Europe and in every other country. And some of them had to bullshit to get in, to starters.
Really?
And
Like what kind of bullshit?
like
Fake passport?
so
or?
yeah, no, standing and say I'm touring the country. They didn't know about
Are you there on
race.
holiday type of?
And then once I've done the race, then I've got to get out of there.
Yeah.
Because especially in Japan, it was quite serious about that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Did you get into Japan?
I got into Japan, but I've got I said I'm going to do this and this and this and this. They didn't know I was going to race. So I raced, and afterwards they said to me, "You're never going to get back to Japan." That was they actually told me, and they said, "You've got to go on now," because they only found out later that I was racing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But you didn't make it into Fuji. They stopped you at the board, at the gate.
At the gate, they stamped my passport, and I took half a step, and the guy said, "Hang on." And when I went back, I saw my picture on his desk. So they were waiting for me.
So that was premeditated.
Yeah.
It was preempt.
If you weren't probably born then, but I think that South Africa stopped a Japanese jockey from racing in the Durban July shortly a year or two before. I have a feeling. And I mean, we were trading. My father was a Datsun dealer, so he was a Japanese car dealer. But we weren't allowed to go. And what happened was I realized there was something going to happen. So Pam, Jody's wife, my sister-in-law, she organized our visas. And I don't know what she got for Jody. He didn't have a major problem. But she got me a tourist visa. And they knew I was coming to race somehow.
Wow.
But then I said to the guy, well, they put me straight under arrest. You know, they took me into a room and put me under guard. I didn't know there was a guard there, so I thought, well, I'll go for a walk, you know, have a look around. I think it was at the airport somewhere. And there was a guy with a machine gun sitting outside my door. So I quickly went back into my room, and then they called me back later and interrogated. And I said, look, I'm not a terrorist. You know, if I've got a tourist visa, you don't want me to race, let me in. I'll go and watch. But they wouldn't. And there are no cell phones in those days, so I couldn't get hold of my team. I had no idea about anything, really. So I was locked in the room, and at about 4 a.m, they hauled me out and put me on a plane, which was going back to Paris, not even to London, where I started.
Oh, wow.
Just the interesting part of the trip was we flew via Anchorage, and at Anchorage they said everybody can embark except Mr. Scheckter. And they took me with armed guard, put me in the basement of the airport for the 2 hours, whatever it was that we were there, put me on the plane and dumped me off in Paris.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And did you have a lot of was that like difficult in those years just in general? I mean, trying to actually go racing like in the States, or was that also quite difficult?
No,
The States wasn't a problem.
No, it wasn't, but Creepy used that as an excuse when we were doing 85. By then, South Africa was really getting into hotbed with apartheid. You know, I did Formula One in 70s, and it wasn't so bad.
It just started to come.
That was more, came when Peter Hain and England started this rioting and brigades or whatever they call them today. But I had no problem. But when we were at, we did Daytona, then we were supposed to go to Miami. And according to Creepy, they said, they were threatened that they would picket the South African stores because we were 2 South Africans, and Creepy Crawley was South African sponsor, and they would throw bombs in the pits at Miami, and they said to us they didn't want to carry on. So I don't know if that was just a feeble excuse or if it was real. Sarel might know.
I think they were bullshitting us, yeah.
Is it?
I think they were scared.
Yeah.
But I think we could have raced there as well.
Yeah, so that was basically the end for racing in America, which I put down to the international
Political climate at the time, yeah.
Did you not at some stage land up in jail somewhere? You know, I mean, I think we've all been in jail. Well, I have as well for speeding.
Very long. How did you even know about that? It was a long time ago when I was a youngster.
Yeah.
So there were, one of my best friends was Keith Zeeman, who went on to be South African motorbike. We're talking about motorbike days, if that's the same time. Anyway, it was Les van der Daar, myself, and Keith. We were, after the race meeting, we were pissed, and we were jollying around Hillbrow. And we were causing...
Remember the Hillbrow days?
When you still could.
We were causing trouble in Hillbrow.
Yeah.
And the cops stopped us and warned us, and so we said, okay, and they went that way, and we went back around the block and carried on. We were just causing shit everywhere. And eventually the cops caught us and arrested us, the 3 of us, put us in jail. And then Keith and Les wanted to try and get out of jail because their parents would know.
Yeah.
So they said, how much is bail, you know, trying to do this was late at night. And they said, Ian, you can stay here. Your parents won't know you're in jail. We're going to get the bail and we'll come back and fetch you tomorrow. But fortunately what happened was one of the cops recognized Keith Zeeman and gave us an out and said, okay, you come to my house tomorrow night. So we did spend only half a night in jail.
Not a full night, eh? So
no, we got lucky.
Lucky.
You know, I got a speeding fine once in Johannesburg, also many years ago. And anyway, I finally got the summons to appear in court. And so I stood up there, and the guy said, look, you got a fine here. This is the fine for speeding. And so I said, please give me a discount if you can. I'm only a student, etc. Anyway, he said, you can only give me so much. And I said, okay, fine. And then I said, well, I only have, I think I was 5 or 6 rand short. And he said, no, well, it's 1 day per rand. So 5 days in jail, sort the clerk out, go and pay your fine and lead him down to the cells. And I'm like, what? I said, anyway, there I go, down to the cells. I paid my whatever it is, but I was 5 rand short. And now I'm sitting in the holding cells at the bottom there. I said, I need to make a phone call. to try and get somebody to bring me some money, and they wouldn't let me. And I was sitting there with a few guys who had probably the same shit, and I was saying to them, I cannot actually believe that I'm going to be sitting here for 5 days in jail for R5, you know.
It's crazy.
And so a couple of hours later, I mean, I was still sitting around there, and in walks a mate of mine. I think it was Peter van Reenen, or I'm trying to think of his name now, but a guy that I knew who came in for exactly the same reason. He was short. And I said, all right, let's do a deal here, but I'll give you some of my money. You know, we could do a deal where I'll sit the 20 days, for example. You know, they'll pay short, and he must go out and go and get us some money, which he did. He came back several hours later with enough money to get us both out of there. I mean, you know, it's the law in those days was pretty tricky.
Yeah, well, you talk like that. My wife got the same thing, speeding fine. She went to pay it. And it was a day late, and they weren't interested, so they locked her up.
What?
So this was in Joburg.
1 day.
So she managed to get a cop to phone me. So I said, she must just pay and go. I mean, what are they keeping her there for? She's come there voluntarily. And I said, I'm not coming down. I refuse to come down. They must sort it out. Eventually, a cop realized, you know, that was ridiculous, and the cop actually helped her get out.
Oh, wow. That's crazy how they do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so just quickly going back to the States, I mean, you guys are amongst the racing royalty. I mean, some of the guys, I mean, you just mentioned like one of the Formula One guys, Ronnie Peterson, you know, and how those guys, I've actually got one of his model cars at home, of the BMW, because that was the thing, you know, like Formula One drivers would drive Formula One, you know, and then on the off season, they'd be driving touring cars and the things that you guys were racing back here. But out of all those like races that you did in the States, what was something you mentioned, Road America? Sarel, what for you was some of your best track, or the track that you really enjoyed the most in the States? Was it the Daytona time, or what was the tracks that you really enjoyed the most in the States?
Daytona was a very nice event, very well organized, I think.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
But I did a rally before that, normal dirt
Rally, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was one of our cars I brought from South Africa there. And they brought all these V8 stuff and all the rest of it. So we stood there with a proper rally car. And the young said, where are you going to go with this piece of shit? It's going to fuck up all these cars of yours. And I won the rally by miles.
Really?
Yeah.
What car was that? Do you remember?
One we took from here.
Oh, from here.
Yeah. And because I've got all the Americans got V8s.
Yeah.
Everything is full of V8s.
Everything.
We had a normal car. But we had a proper rally car, and it was all dirt roads. And they had all these super 100 extra horsepower cars. But all it did, it was wheel spun.
They couldn't put the power down.
And from day one, it was a 4-day rally. And from day one, I won all the stages.
That's amazing.
And at the prize giving, they said, okay, fantastic. All the rest. What is your main, what did they say? You're going back to South Africa, what will you remember? And I said, all these assholes that can't drive.
That's a true South African way to put things.
That was because they're so full of themselves, you know.
Yeah.
And I won every single stage through the whole rally.
That's incredible.
A 3-day rally. So,
Yeah.
And then we took the car back. They said they wanted to buy it. I said, no, you can't buy it because you can't drive a car like this.
Can't drive a car like
I
that.
haven't got the ability to drive a car like that.
Was transporting cars back in the day, was that quite difficult, like logistics-wise, compared to, I mean, today it's quite easy, but I mean, back in the day...
They organized, the owners organized the whole thing, but it wasn't that difficult. We got the car there, they checked the car, and we had to sign the things.
Off you go.
And, one guy said, where are you going to go with this bug? I said, this bug is going to fuck you up.
Bugger
So
all you
we
guys
said
up.
that, yeah. And that was probably the nicest thing I've ever
That was the best
nicest one
experience.
I've ever had.
Just to prove them wrong.
Just these Americans, yeah.
Shows you the difference in racing and how everybody's got their things. I mean, you know, like you're saying about the V8s and stuff, and how everybody always put. I think back in the day, you know, I mean, I'm 45 now, so I'm an 80s baby, born in 1980.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I grew up watching, you know, guys like you doing the things that you were doing on the track. And everybody always, you know, back in the day would say, oh, they would look at this overseas race car and that overseas race car. But I'm like, hey, guys, we've got the talent here, man. You know, and it's not just one person. There's a lot of people. And did you guys ever get a little bit of flack? I mean, Sarel just made a great way, but did you guys get similar flack in F1? I mean, with some of the big names, I'm sure you've had some big boys sitting next to you on the grid at Kailami, getting that kind of feeling. And then once you do a couple of laps in, they're like, hey, where did this guy come from? Like, who is he?
You know, I was never really in a competitive car, but when Jody got there, for example, his second race, he was leading the Grand Prix, French Grand Prix, with Emerson, Jackie Stewart, Ronnie Peterson, all those guys behind him.
Crazy.
And eventually Emerson, in desperation, tried to bomb Jody at the hairpin, and they ended up crashing. And Emerson started shit with Jody. But and I thought to myself, he's very lucky, Emerson, because Jody was a street fighter. he would have taken Emerson's head off in 1 second. But anyway, just another story with Jody is that then the next race was Silverstone, when Jody spun on the first lap and took out half the field. And it was a major crash at Woodcote in front of the pits.
So we do it, you know, when we crash, we do it properly.
Yeah, so he went to, Phil Kerr was his sort of boss at McLaren, and then those days he had a spare car, you know, so he said to them, obviously his car was written off and 9 other cars or something. He said, can't I take the spare car? And Phil Kerr said, listen, there are a lot of guys here that want to actually kill you. The best is you go and hide something. Don't think you're going to put your face on this grill. So, yeah, when you're a newcomer, I mean, like now they're cucking on Antonelli because of this and that. I would say give him another year, because he does show flashes of greatness. And Gilles Villeneuve, who they rate as the superstar ever, he came and raced here against us, and we beat him here. But he blames the car. Well, be that as it may. But Villeneuve, when he got out there, his first race was in Canada, his home race, in Niki Lauda's car, which was the world champion's car. Niki Lauda walked out, and he was behind me on the grid and behind me in the race till my car gave trouble. His second race was Japan, where he crashed into Ronnie Peterson, and 2 guards were killed, marshals. So, you know, you can take the beginners.
Yeah, exactly.
Jody, Villeneuve, Antonelli, or even Hadjar before he did his first race. You remember he was in the arm car on the warm-up lap.
Yeah.
And look at him today. They're claiming he will be one of the best. So I would give a guy like Antonelli much more time. I think he's shown enough brilliance. He's shown as much as Hamilton has done at Ferrari.
Oh, that's crazy, right? Jeez, but you just all those names you mentioned, you know, just on the grid. I mean, that's F1 royalty, eh?
I mean, between the two of you,
Exactly.
I was lucky with
this is racing
Emerson.
royalty.
You know, Emerson was world champion, and then he left McLaren to go to his brother's team, that Kopasuka, and that car was about as good as my car. So we had quite a lot of dices together and got to know each other. And then he was doing 1 or 2 races, IMSA races, when we were there as well. So I remember seeing him in Daytona at the airport, Emerson, yeah.
And how was it in the pub afterwards? Was everybody just like, we had a good battle on the track, and everybody afterwards was like, yeah, we have a few drinks and we forget about it? Or was there still that rivalry off track?
Well, after Grand Prix, most guys go home that night. They don't actually stay
around.
Yeah, maybe more now because they've all got their private planes. A lot of us didn't. I did fly once with Hesketh. They had their private jet in Austria, and that was quite lekker. James Hunt, myself, and the team flew back. We landed in London.
Amazing.
And there was a Rolls Royce to meet us at Heathrow. Because Hesketh was Hesketh, you know. And I'd heard rumors about James being a wild animal, and he said to me, this is now 11 o'clock at night probably, he said, they're going downtown London, whatever, clubbing or whatever, won't I come with? And I was a bit nervous. I said, no, I'm going to go back home because I wasn't sure what I was going to get into. You know, I was a naive South African, you know.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But I mean, you could probably outjaw those guys. I mean, I've heard some stories about you guys, especially Sarel. You know, you know, I've heard some stories.
Yeah.
How decent I am.
Yes, well-mannered, well-mannered. You never looked at another girl. You never drank. You never threw TVs out the windows of hotels. None of that stuff. You know,
It was a very boring life.
Yeah, and you never outdrove anybody and all these assholes. Yeah, to the contrary. I mean, I'm sure you guys show them how South Africans do it. You know, I like to always relate South Africans as hyenas. You know, because old African hyenas. You know, you eat shit all day long, you laugh all night long, and you take on the lions, you know.
True that.
That's how we do it, you know.
True that.
I mean, South Africans have always stood out wherever we've gone, you know. We've always been the underlings, and, you know, who these Africans coming here from uneducated background or whatever, and then we moor them over there. I mean, our rugby, you know.
Sport, motor racing.
With your racing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, sorry to interrupt. You're very right. You know, in the 60s, 70s, when Formula One came here and they had Formula Ones here, the locals had to be self-creative. You know, they didn't have works teams on their doorstep. And when they came to race here, the damages and they had at the track in practice and that, the guys used to go to Ken Gillibrand, who was a local fabricator, to repair wings and stuff like that. And then there was a guy, Roger Taylor, who developed engines, and his engines had more power. They used to call it overseas jungle power from South Africa. He could produce more power than Nicholson McLaren could, because he came to work for me eventually because we couldn't beat him. But we went overseas to Nicholson McLaren to build an engine, hand-built under their guidance, to come back and beat him, and we couldn't. So eventually we employed him. So so South Africans, you're right, they get because we're so far away, I think, from the
and
world.
we were isolated, so we had to do things ourselves. And then we ended up doing things better than they used to do it. I mean, look at even our weapons. I mean, we used to make weapons in the old days with the Null and all these guys. And the next thing, and then we're supplying the other guys with weapons. Okay, probably the Americans today. I mean, must lift my hat to them when it comes to armory and all these electronic shits now and the drones and stuff. But
I had a very interesting story. Speaking about weaponry, you know, I like those kinds of things, right? That when they designed the Royvalk, you know, South Africa perfected the guidance system for where the pilot looks around and the turret follows, right? So we perfected that technology. We then went, and I speak under correction here, but this is what I've heard and what I've researched. And we went to America. The Americans came to us and said, hey, we've got the Apache helicopters. We want that technology. They're like, fine, we'll give it to you. We'll give you how we figured this out, but then we want the rapid fire rockets that's on the Apache. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay, fine. So we gave them the guidance system and the, you know, the maneuverability and all that stuff. And then when it was time for them to reciprocate, they never did. And the reason why was it would have made the Royvalk the most tactically advanced attack helicopter in the world, far superior to the Apache, simply because of the payload of armaments that it can carry. So it's a testament to what we can do here. And I think Denel back in the day was just, they were far ahead in technology and stuff they were doing, even, you know, just normal weaponry and design. I mean, you look at all the old FN rifles that we used to use here.
That's pretty good.
I mean, look, they were FN Belgium made, but a lot of the stuff then started filtering down into local brands, and it was stuff that they still use today. Stuff
I want to ask a question. So when did you start racing? At what age? And how did that come about?
My father used to race.
Okay.
He was the first rally champion.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
50-something. So I grew up as motorsport around me. And when I finished school, and my father said, "So what are you going to do with your life?" So I said, I don't want the money. I don't want. Give me the money. I'm going to go and rally.
Yes.
And he said, "There's no such job. You will go to university."
You're not going to get
So I
paid.
got
Yeah.
through all that eventually. And then I started with a Datsun Triple S, my own personal car. Started rallying.
That's what I had.
I remember those guys, yeah.
Then I started winning with it. And eventually I got a works car and I got paid for it. You know, then I just carried on as a professional driver.
Yeah.
And my father said, "There's no such job. You have to go and work." I said, "I'm not working. I'm going to trust
You
God."
basically created a job.
Yeah. And so that's how I came into motorsport. And, you know, I had to run the first few years out of my own pocket and all the rest of it. And it's only later on I could get cars from wherever I wanted.
So then, you know, once you got into that, you were always sponsored and
Yeah, once I started sponsoring it, you know, I was driving works cars,
yeah, everybody,
from various
manufacturers.
manufacturers.
Yeah.
Porsche made up a lot of that for you as well. I mean, I was impressed to see that, you know, you drove Porsche AG. I mean, Porsche actually, you were a driver for Porsche themselves.
Yeah. And, but it was hell of a nice.
Yeah.
Those BJ Escorts actually was the nicest car.
Really?
They weighed nothing.
Mhm.
They had 250 horsepower, 250 horsepower, and a very good suspension. So as a rally car, that was just in another class.
Unreal.
And of course, especially when we took the same car overseas and won the rallies there in America. And
The guys couldn't understand that.
yeah.
Is that because you guys used to build better race cars here than, or were they just badly put together? I know
I think
weight was a big thing.
Probably a bit of both, yeah, because the guys who built our rally cars was better than the European cars. Because when we took our car overseas, we beat them at their own field.
Yeah.
Well, look at
The same cars.
the Dakar. What wins most years? The South African Toyotas and the South African, what those
Oh, those buggies.
buggy cars they
Yeah.
made in South Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So it goes to testament to see how, and I mean, a lot of the builders and I mean, back in you just mentioned something quite interesting now with back in the Formula One days where you actually had guys locally that had to start fixing wings and things.
Yeah.
I mean, in the rally side of things, you know, when you're out in the bush, something breaks, you know, it's a case of you want to quickly smash this, beat this, make that work, use a hammer, you know, and it all comes down to, you know, I'm sure the drivers, and I'm sorry, you maybe also got involved at some place like, oh, that's quickly working, smash it and just keep going, you know. But you guys had an understanding of how those things worked. It wasn't just get in and drive.
But you actually had to look after the vehicles because the rally racing, there were 3-day rallies, you know, that you drive and then there's like a few hours break and you carry on. And the rally side was actually the most exciting of it because it's roads you've never seen before, for starters, and it's at night. So I think I was very good at that because I've always had my night vision was excellent. It
Yeah.
still is. And I always had a bit of an advantage at night. So, but it was fantastic because you never knew where the hell you're going to go. You just, you know,
Every corner was a surprise.
you just see that corner, you don't know what's the next one and all that. So I think that night rallies was probably the most difficult things, but also the nicest. And you got the most feeling afterwards. You felt this was a good job, And it was a very exciting, it was quite airy at times. You know, that is probably what made it nice because you driving at night, you never know where the hell you're going to go.
But Sarel, I mean, you were one of the very few South Africans that ever rallied. I mean, I'm just thinking about, you know, off the top of my head, trying to find other people that was rallying at that level, even in the last like 30, 40 years, you know. And do you think, is there a reason for that? I mean, do you think it's just because, you know, people's attention are more I want to do karting, I want to go to F1 because now that's where the money is? Or do you think it's just a case of like not enough grassroots kind of development on the rally side?
Well, in my father's time, my father was the first. He won the championship, the rally championship, and a lot of people followed. Ewald van Bergen and a lot of people after that came and won as well, and including me eventually. Eventually, I dominated the whole scene for probably 13 years. But I think from rallying at night is nicer than any other way of driving. I mean, if you're on a tar road, it's easy. Even at night, you know where it's going to go. Because at night in a rally, you're racing on a loose surface to start with. And I think that has done a hell of a lot to my whole motorsport career, is the night rallies.
A big cornerstone.
If you can stay alive there, you can probably stay alive
anywhere.
Yeah.
Was there any hairy moments like coming around a corner and there's
yes.
there's a buck or a Philibius or something and you need to quickly make a maneuver?
In one of these night rallies in the escort, we came along a hell of a high-speed thing and we hit a bump and the car rolled in the air and landed on the wheels again.
That's crazy.
And somebody put it all, somebody still got this picture of it.
Upside down in the air.
Doing
a barrel roll.
Barrel roll.
That's insane.
Gulfstream, yeah.
So I think in all the motorsport I've done, the night rallies was the most spectacular. Yeah, it was the most difficult and it was the most rewarding, really. You won a rally there, you've done something good.
Yeah. Besides, like on the technical side, what are some of the technical challenges that you guys would have faced? Because I'm looking at the old rally cars and I see the lights that they used to have on these massive spotlights, and obviously technology has changed over the years.
I heard you.
Was that often like good enough for you guys to use?
The first night rallies, we had like 4 headlights apart from the cars. It's actually 6 headlights because we didn't have the right stuff. And eventually, when we got the proper stuff, the lights is, the one.
They weren't throwing enough. Yeah.
And that made it out of it. It probably made you quite a bit quicker as well.
You can see a little bit further. Yeah. So I can see that must have been challenging back because you see it all the new technology nowadays. The guys using these massive LED lights, they can see for kilometers on end. Yeah. Where now you literally driving on instinct because that headlight is only the escort headlight's only showing there.
Sarel, don't they in the World Championship practice the circuits beforehand, or is it still blind?
Rallies.
Yeah.
Overseas they do it, practice, but we never did it here.
No, yeah.
We drove blind. Yeah.
Blind race. Yeah. You got to know your stuff.
You should have driven this thing because nobody else wanted to drive it. They thought I was mad.
I tried to sit in the driver's seat. I didn't even fit. I don't know how you fit in there.
Yeah.
When we did the video of that car, I couldn't even fit in the car.
Yeah, I remember you did an article on it.
I wanted to drive it and I was like, nah, I can't fit in the car. It was too long.
But now tell me right now, so who, as we speak now, who's the better driver out of the two of you?
Then or now?
how about then and now?
Yeah, both.
Yeah. Guys, the next step now is to find out who is the best driver out of Sarel and Ian. You're going to have to tune in to part 2 to find out and get damn excited because I tell you what, this is going to be a showdown of note.